This is Partners in Crime with Adam Croft and Robert Daws.
There we go.
Good. I wasn't expecting that.
No, a live but very, very small studio audience this week.
I feel a little bit like Bill Maher. Or where else do they clap? I don't know, everywhere. That's very nice. Thank you very
Not
much.
very often when you're around.
Is there anyone in the audience we know today?
Yeah, everybody.
Got a coach
yes.
party in from Blackpool.
Yes, four close family and friends, which means that we're six because we're indoors.
Yes.
We're at the Waterside Cafe. If you're watching on Patreon on the video, you'll be able to see in the background actually Rutland Water in its finest glory. The mist has lifted, the fog has lifted this morning. It's actually looking quite nice now.
It's looking quite nice. In the weather forecast, I'm told by people who know, who live here, natives of this fair county.
You mean my parents?
Yes, those two. Fine people that they are, have told us that the weather is going to improve. Whether it manages to make it through this podcast, I have no idea. But here we are waiting for the sun.
Well, we were going to record outside. We're in the Waterside Cafe, which is currently not the Waterside Cafe. It's shut this year due to social.
Not the Waterside Cafe.
Well, it's still Waterside. It's just
Yes.
not a cafe at the moment. It's been requisitioned as a studio for us for the day.
So that's my ham and cheese toastie down the drain, is it?
It is, I'm afraid.
Right, I have got
yeah.
a lovely coffee, and I found out this is locally sourced. What was the name of the company again? Two Chimps, and that's in Oakham, is it? Not far from wherever Two Chimps are in Rutland. It's delicious coffee. Thank you very much. Care of Mum and Dad.
We almost had a falling out this morning, didn't we, Bob?
I can't imagine anything more unlikely to take place.
I was here first thing this morning, setting up with one half of Moriarty, and we about the time Bob was due to arrive, I got a text from him saying, I'm running a bit late, I'm just going to jump in the shower and then I'll be up. Bearing in mind Rutland is over an hour away from your house.
I did send it just round the corner in the car park as I saw Adam and the family get out of their car. And no one said I was nice. But apparently the air turned blue in the Rutland Waterside Cafe.
The air turned blue.
Yes, I'm sure it did.
The recording equipment almost went into Rutland Water at that point. But we got here in the end. Apologies if it sounds a little bit echoey on the podcast. That's because it is a little bit echoey in here. We're in an empty cafe recording this.
Yes, you'd never guess. The cafe area is through there. I can take a look at counters and boards advertising sandwiches, which once were made here, and alas, will not be made here this year. But I can imagine when this is up and running and there is no COVID and the sun is shining, it's a magnificent place. It's the first time I've ever been to Rutland Water, and I can just... mine host has taken me for a little stroll round the patch, and it's quite remarkable. And I'm certainly going to be visiting here, because, as you say, it's only an hour away, an hour and 10 minutes if you've had a shower just before you left. But it's quite beautiful, and I think would make an excellent spot to set a novel. It's sort of occurred to me.
Can you imagine?
Yes.
Can you imagine if someone were to do that?
I found it quite inspiring.
Well, the reason we're up here today recording is because it's actually, as we record on the Tuesday, it's the launch day of my second book in the Rutland Crime series, which we...
is this what this is all about?
Yeah, if you're watching on Patreon,
I was wondering.
Then not only will you see Rutland Water in the background behind us here, but you'll also see quite a lot of books that we've got left over.
Yes, well, I mean, I did see you sending out on social media pictures of you sitting on a throne full of thousands of books.
Yeah.
It looked a little mid-career Trump to me in its layout, but it was quite impressive. I mean, how many have you had printed? 4,000?
Yeah, including the other ones. I had to sign some of the first ones and various bits and bobs. We're somewhere near 5,000, I think, now.
Oh, my goodness me. Have you signed them all, or did you actually just have to...
Nearly. In fact, when you saw me sitting in that little room, when you rocked up with a big grin on your face...
Is that the little room through there?
Yeah, because you'd gotcha'd me this morning.
Yes.
And you came in with that cheeky little grin. I was... I said... I'd said to them a few moments earlier, well, sod it, you might as well take the equipment down and I'll go and sign some more books then.
Oh.
And that's what I was doing when you finally rocked up.
You know, you can do. David Mark, the wonderful best-selling crime writer David Mark, I didn't notice on social media, did recommend that you can actually get a stamp
Yeah, I've been tempted.
Yeah, well, I'm sure. But how do you feel about that from a sort of authentic point of view? I mean, when people get a book, surely they want to know that you've actually, on your 4,999th copy signed, of suffering from sort of repetitive strain injury. That sort of it sort of makes it worthwhile, that there's something of value in your signature in the book.
That's why I've done them all.
Okay.
Yeah, I was tempted by the stamp, and a couple of people said to me, "I'm pretty sure I could do your signature," but no, I will stick with the ethical approach.
Yes.
What
Each
else
book,
going on out there?
ladies and gentlemen, around the world listening to this podcast, is authentically signed by Adam Croft. Well, that's great. I mean, my challenge today, Adam, and may I say, we have mentioned the weather. It's misty,
Yes,
and thank goodness for that.
We normally start with the weather.
I thought we hadn't, and this is the first time in about 6 months that you haven't been sitting there in nothing but shorts and bare feet. So it's quite a shock finding it sitting there with strides and a pair of brogues. A great improvement to my mind. But anyway, so here we are. My challenge today is to be able to get through the rest of the podcast without mentioning your book once. That's why I've got loads and loads of things to recommend and say, and you're going to have to fight for your space.
Go on then. Go on, let's have the first one.
Right, I'm going to put my glasses on now. For those listening in audio only, there is a pre-order that you can make, and I'm going to recommend this very strongly by a friend of Partners in Crime, the wonderful Elly Griffiths. Her next book, The Postscript Murders, is out on the 20th of October, so do get your pre-orders now if you are, like ourselves, great Elly Griffith fans. It is the ultimate gripping murder mystery for winter nights from the best-selling author of The Stranger Diaries and the Dr. Ruth Galloway mysteries. The death of a 90-year-old woman with a heart condition should absolutely not be suspicious. D.S. Harbinder Kaur certainly sees nothing to concern her in Kara Natalka's account of Peggy Smith's death. But when Natalka reveals that Peggy lied about her heart condition and that she had been sure someone was following her, ... and that Peggy Smith had been a murder consultant who plotted deaths for authors and knew more about murder than anyone has a right to, and when clearing out Peggy's flat ends in Natalka being held at gunpoint by a masked figure, more dots, well then D.S. Harbinder Kaur thinks that maybe there is no such thing as an unsuspicious death after all. From the sleepy seaside town of Shoreham to the granite streets of Aberdeen, The Postscript Murders is a literary mystery for fans of Anthony Horowitz, Agatha Christie, and Adam Croft. It's got here. So
does it actually say that?
Yeah, I've been caught out at the last minute.
Does it actually say that?
Yeah, no, it doesn't.
Oh.
No, it doesn't. I've just added that.
You're on a roll today, you are.
So there we are. That's Elly's new book. She's a wonderful writer, as any fan of hers will tell you. We love her writing very much indeed. So that's out on the 20th of October. The Postscript Murders, a perfect gift for someone at Christmas, or possibly as a download too, which you can, of course, gift as well from a certain company that we know and recommend.
That would probably be Kobo.
Thank you very much.
Yes, who very kindly keep us on air, because lots of other people are trying to get us off air. And if you go to kobo.com, enter the promo code CRIME at the checkout, they'll give you 90% off of your first purchase from them, or use the promo code PARTNERS using the link in the show notes for 40% off.
40 whole percent.
40 whole percent.
That's a bargain, isn't it?
It is.
It is a bargain. Thank you, Kobo.
I saw something on screenrant.com this week, which we're often referring to. They had a list of the 10 most powerful scenes in crime dramas, which I found quite interesting. So I'm going to run through those. Number 10. You can do your top of the pops there. In at number 10, the hit on Frodo from Godfather 2. Number 9, the body in the boot scene from Goodfellas. Number 8 was William's death in The Departed. Number 7 was Harvey's Two-Face in The Dark Knight. Up new this week at number 6, apartment shooting scene from Pulp Fiction. Number 5, it's 7, What Was in the Box. And number 4 this week is the revenge sequence from Road to Perdition. This week's top 3, the shower scene from Psycho is in at number 3. Sonny's death from The Godfather is number 2. And this week's number 1 is the climax scene from Reservoir Dogs. There you go. How about
Marvellous.
that?
Well done.
Round of applause, please. Thank you very much. There we go.
It's all this fresh air.
It is, isn't it?
We don't get this in your converted garage studio, do we?
We don't,
We don't.
no,
We get a different quality of air, which no doubt affects our brains in different ways.
Yes, it's a little less stale. The early morning stroll round Rutland Water, I think.
Just tell me the power of good, sheer, wonderful, clear ozone at its very best.
Yes. You did. You haven't seen much of Rutland yet, but
No,
we'll
I
show you
haven't.
a bit more later. You
Yes.
saw the fishing shop.
I saw the fishing shop.
Downstairs,
Yes, I saw where you get your tackle.
Yes, you drop your flies and got your tackle out.
That's it. Nothing changes on Partners in Crime. And you've got these boats out there, and you can really actually, number 23, your time is up. You hire a boat, they're all numbered, carefully numbered, and you head out upon the water with your rod. And what sort of fish do they stock here?
Stock.
I mean, do they come naturally
think
into the
there's all
dam?
sorts,
I wouldn't have
yeah.
thought so. There aren't any rivers that flow into it, are there?
There are rivers that flow in, yeah.
Oh, well, there must
Yeah.
be. Water must come from somewhere.
Yes, and
Not really very good at dams.
There's all sorts. There's trout and carp and things, I think.
Oh, yes. That's the voice of an expert there, quite clearly. And there's sort of fishy things.
I know considering I'm sitting on top of a fishing lodge, I know very little about fishing. Although I've noticed that there are some people who occasionally are kind of glancing up at us. For those of you who can't see us, we're in basically a kind of like a four-sided glass box right on the edge of Rutland Water.
Not before time.
I mean, we're probably 100 feet from the water here.
Yes, I would say so.
We're
At a gallop.
We've got people looking up at us, wondering what we're doing, sitting here with microphones
Well, I
and
think
headphones.
they're looking up in the hope that we might be Bob Mortimer and Paul Whitehouse.
Oh, right, of course, the fishing thing. Yeah,
Yes, whose programme, I have to say, it's just ended the latest series on BBC Two, and I'm addicted to it. It's, I mean, they are wonderfully funny, they're absolutely brilliant, and they're fine. Well, Paul Whitehouse in particular is a very fine fisherman, takes it very seriously, and quite rightly so. And then they go away and they do these wonderful places, and they catch their fish, and of course they put the fish back into the river. We like to think none the worse for their experience. I mean, I can remember in the old days, I used to watch a programme on Sundays called Out of Town with a gentleman called Jack Hargreaves, who used to do much the same sort of thing. He used to go to sort of county fairs. In fact, it was a great programme. But when he fished, in those days, he'd take the fish out of the water and bash it over the head and take it home for pie. So things have changed. The world is a safer place for fish.
Yeah.
You don't hear many of them getting murdered. Not in the seas, I suppose.
You don't hear them complaining, do you?
Not inland, no. So we don't know what the hell we're talking about, do we? Right, so I tell you what, I'm going to move swiftly on now to some television, some news of some production that is coming up. ITV's going to make a remake of the Belgium series Professor T. It's begun filming on location in Belgium and a place not very far from here, Cambridge. The 6-part series stars Ben Miller, who many of you will know for his wonderful comedic skills and also for being the first detective on Death in Paradise, that detective series which has done incredibly well over the recent years in the UK. Other members of the acting profession joining him will be Francis de la Tour, Emma Naomi and Barney White, and is produced by the newly formed production company Eagle Eye Drama, launched by the same team behind global drama brand Walter Presents. Walter Presents do an awful lot of crime series in the UK and I dare say worldwide. It's set against the stunning backdrop of one of the world's most prestigious educational institutions, Cambridge University, and is centred around the eccentric, has to be eccentric, but brilliant, thank goodness for that, criminology professor Jasper Tempest, played by Ben Miller, who suffers from OCD and has a tortured past. Joining the cast are Andy Gatherwood, Sarah Woodward, Ben Onwukwe, Douglas Reith and Juliet Aubrey. Great cast there. De la Tour takes the role of Jasper's colourful but overbearing mother, Adelaide. Emerging star Emma Naomi will play Detective Inspector Lisa Donkers, with rising star Barney White cast as her police psychic, Dan Winters. Look out for it next year. Now that last sentence, well, the one prior to the last sentence, there's an emerging star and there's a rising star. What's the difference? They sound pretty much the same to me. Is that just not...
Do you emerge and then rise?
Or do you rise and then emerge from your rising? I don't know, but either way, they're both stars, and that's Emma Naomi and Barney White. So there we go. That is Professor T, which will be on our screens next year, starring the ever-popular and most very, very, very talented actor Ben Miller.
Didn't Frances de la Tour pop up last week?
Frances de la Tour's known for popping up all the time, and thank goodness.
I'm sure we mentioned the programme last week that
Yes,
she was.
it's in her agent.
So it's not the same one, is it?
It is. Yeah, there's only one Frances. Believe me, there's
No,
only one
I
Frances
mean,
de la
it's
Tour.
not the same programme.
No, it's not the same program. No, this is.
I wasn't really listening. So.
You know, actors. You may not know this. Do pop up in all sorts of things, and
Closed cafes.
She's one of them. You take a look at the spotlight, and it's got Frances de la Tour and a wonderful photograph of her, and underneath it says "popping up in all sorts of things." So there we are. That's another recommendation. So, how many books have we got here? It's called. What's it called? It's called On Borrowed Time.
You come prepared, I see.
Yes, I thought I was feeling a bit guilty, so I thought we'd better mention it at least 12 times. On Borrowed Time, it's got another wonderful cover, I see, because the first one was incredibly striking, and
the church, which is just behind. Well, you can't quite see it in the video, but just behind those trees there.
It's just over yonder.
Although this here, this cover, I'll hold it up for the camera. That picture on the front is a photo that I took. It's the first time I've ever had one of my photos on the cover of one of my books.
Do you know, now you mention it, I can see that. It's
the birds aren't mine. The birds were added.
The birds were. It sounds like a line from on the buses. The birds were added.
They were added in.
And the Rutland crime series. That's it. It's a great photograph. Now, where is that tunnel? The first book, as many of you know who have read it and thoroughly enjoyed it, because it's a great read, had a picture of the church, which is half buried by Rutland Water, and very mysterious and rather spooky it looks too, and an ideal place to set the start of a murder mystery novel. And this one shows a tunnel. Where is that tunnel? Is that tunnel actually in Rutland?
That is at Manton.
That's a Rutland tunnel.
Yes.
I'm holding it up for the camera, but
authentic Rutland tunnel. When we go out to lunch, actually, you'll drive over Manton. You'll drive through the village. The train line goes underneath, and that's the
so
tunnel.
when we go out to lunch, we'll drive through that tunnel. I don't think so. I've read the opening of your book. I think I'll give that a miss.
Yes, I would.
It's not a place to hang around, I don't think, is that tunnel in Rutland.
No.
But, and it is out today.
It is out today, yeah.
When do we go out? We go out in a couple of days' time.
We're out on Friday.
We're out on Friday.
It'll probably be Thursday or maybe Wednesday on Patreon.
Yes.
Depending when we get back in time to edit the video. But
available online and in all good bookshops, particularly in the Rutland area.
And some bad ones as well.
No, I'm sure there are no bad bookshops. Name some names of bookshops in Rutland, actually, now we're here.
What, good ones?
Yeah, I'm sure they're all good.
They're all good, yes.
There's some who haven't taken... I take it the ones who haven't taken your book are the bad ones.
Oh, they've all taken it.
Oh, they've all taken it.
Of course they've all taken it, Bob. Why would they not?
They're only human after all.
Yeah, we'll go for a little wander in town, actually, after lunch, and I'm going to pop into a couple and say hello and show my face and make sure people are buying the bloody things.
Yes. Author arrested for forcing people to buy books in smallest county in UK.
Although I did pop into a coffee shop at 8 o'clock this morning to grab some supplies.
I thought it was a tiny bit cold. No, great.
That one was bought more recently, but I did pop into, I'll give a shout out to Edith Weston Village Shop. I popped in on my way through this morning, and I walked in through the door, and she sort of did a double take and looked up at me and said, "Oh, you're here to check up on me, are you?"
Is this Edith?
No, this is Edith Weston is the village.
Oh, Edith Weston is the village.
It's the village, yeah.
Named after Edith Weston.
I don't. Probably, maybe.
God, you like villages which sound like names, don't you?
I know.
You wrote another series of books around a character whose name is a village in Bedfordshire. I've forgotten what it's called now.
Kempston Hardwick.
Kempston. Marston Moriarty. No, Kempston Hardwick.
No, they sell the books in there, you see. So she thought I was going in to check up on her first thing this morning.
So, okay, that's one of the places you can buy your book of On Borrowed Time if you're passing Edith's village. It's Edith Weston in Rutland. Pop in and say hi. She won't be there, of course. She's an entire village. But you'll get some sort of response, as you quite clearly did this morning.
Yes. Yeah, I'm going to have a little wander. I'm going to go into Walker's in Oakham. That's the main one in the county. I'm going to go in there and say hello and probably come out with arms full of books myself. Not my own.
No.
I won't be buying up my own.
No.
That would be silly.
That would be suspicious behaviour, would it not?
It would. We'll steer away from that one. Anyway,
that was a profound silence. So anyway, look, that's On Borrowed Time, which is a book written by a bloke called Adam Croft, which some of you may have gleaned by now is out this week. I'm going to move to a very exciting book now. I mean, it's incredibly exciting.
It looks huge.
It is. It's a huge book, and it sounds like this. Actually, sorry, before I do that, coming back momentarily to On Borrowed Time, for those who haven't heard it...
We'll do it in stereo.
It goes like this. God, it's better in stereo, isn't it?
It is.
It is much better. That's On Borrowed Time in high fidelity, as we used to call it back in the 70s. This book is called How Done It. Now, it's not a murder mystery novel. It's a book about writers who write murder mystery novels, and it is written by, I think, the doyen, or real expert on this, Martin Edwards, a mighty fine crime writer in his own right. I'll write about the back, because this all stems from something called the Detection Club. I'll say it again. The Detection Club is the world's longest-running professional crime writers group, established in 1930 by Anthony Barclay, Dorothy L. Sayers, Agatha Christie and their friends. The friends will probably be Norman and Dwayne. It still meets 3 times a year to discuss books, compare notes and champion crime writers. Had you heard of the Detection Club?
Yes, in fact, I think Martin Edwards might be the current president, or he's president of something.
Well, I tell you, I'm going to read his biography now because he's a fascinating man, and I've read his books, and they are terrific too. Martin Edwards is the latest recipient of the C.W.A. Diamond Dagger, the highest honour in British crime writing, given for the sustained excellence of an author's contribution to the genre. Martin was elected the 8th president of the Detection Club in 2015. Well done, you've got your finger on the pulse, Mr. Croft. Is a well-known novelist and critic, and is series consultant to the British Library's crime classics. His groundbreaking study of the genre The Golden Age of Murder won the Edgar, Agatha, H.R.F. Keating and McCavity Awards, and in addition to prolific non-fiction, short story and anthology publishing, his 19 novels include most recently Mortmain Hall and Gallows Court. Gallows Court I've read, which is excellent, which was nominated for 2 awards, including the CWA Historical Dagger. Martin lives in Cheshire, and why not? No, that's a long way from Rutland. How's he going to get to Walker's in Oakham? And posts regularly to his blog. Do you write under your own name? Okay, so this book is How Done It? And in celebration of the Detection Club's 90th birthday, happy birthday to them, 90 of its esteemed members share their experience and advice about the art and craft of successful crime writing. From G.K. Chesterton's timeless exploration of the value of detective fiction to Len Dayton's insightful explanation of how different problems can be met with different solutions. How Done It takes the reader on a guided journey through all aspects of crime writing. It sets out thoughts on motivation, character, setting, dialogue, perspective, humour and suspense. How do you decide on a murderer? What research should you do? What can you improvise? And what do editors actually want? Well, as far as I can see, this is the last word on anyone who is interested in crime detection, and certainly anyone who's interested in writing it or indeed writes it. I have it by my bed and I dip in every single night for a couple of chapters, and they're all there. Some of the contributors are slightly more alive than others. G.K. Chesterton is, of course, no longer with us, but people like Ian Rankin, who has got a brilliant chapter on why crime fiction is good for you, is very much with us, thank goodness, and long may he be so. So there it is. I get it. I think it's a fantastic book, edited by Martin Edwards, but also with great contributions by himself. A masterclass in crime writing by members of the Detection Club.
There you go, and you heard it here first. Every night when Bob's in bed, he makes sure he dips in every night.
Yes, I have an exciting life.
I'm going to dip into Walker's and grab that book this afternoon.
Well, I'm sure it's there. Look, who else is... Anne Cleeves is on there. Reginald Hill. I mean, they're all... P.D. James. John le Carré. They're all there. Agatha Christie, I've heard of her. They're all make contributions in this book, so... As you can gather by now, I can't recommend it highly enough. But of course, not as highly as I recommend On Borrowed Time by, what's his name? Adam Croft.
Lovely. And we'll do that shout out again for Kobo. If you've not had a book from them before, go to kobo.com, enter the promo code CRIME at the checkout, and thanks to Kobo, they'll give you 90% off of your first purchase with them. And you don't need an e-reader or anything like that.
How do you read it then, Adam?
You can quite easily download the free app. Free Kobo app for your mobile phone or tablet, although their e-readers are very, very good, and I would definitely recommend them.
I'm nodding my head.
And if you've used that code, then use the partners code through the link in our show notes.
Which is, I don't know, what is it?
40% off, that gives you.
Oh, 40% off. If you put partners in the code.
You can keep reusing it over and over on selected books.
Yes, good grief. That's you can.
Including mine.
Why don't I do that then?
So get mine.
I thought you could only do it once.
Partners, no, you can use over and over. It's not every book. It's quite a lot of them.
Goodness me.
If the publisher
How many times would you have told me that over the last year and a bit? Probably, well over 100.
I mean, we're on episode... What episode are we on? 120, I think. 120, apparently, I'm told.
This is episode 1. Thank you very much. We've got a panel of experts here. I can't believe... We've got a terrific, the full team.
We told you we had a team
from the office, from the administration, to the editing, to the contribution online, to storage and logistic experts, which come under the heading of Mum and Dad.
The delivery team, yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. They're all here, they're all watching, and hopefully, although I wouldn't presume it will happen, we're looking forward to huge applause at the end.
You can probably hear in the background, very quietly, my son in the toy department. There he is playing in the background.
Oh, that's a nice...
Occasionally dropping a toy very loudly.
That must be comforting. Not many people go to work and actually know that... mind you, I say that.
Yes.
And lots of people actually working from home now have got the delicate sound of their children playing in the background.
Oh, yeah. That's what it is, broadcasting with a 3-year-old in the background. Comforting, that's the word,
yes,
yeah.
Well,
that's the word you want.
It's the new norm, and I think it's going to be around for some time. And it's proving to be, understandably quite popular.
Well, he's doing very well. He's behaving himself.
He's very good. And James is also an expert on the solar system and the universe.
In fact,
there's nothing he doesn't know.
In fact, if you are a patron of ours, we might get James on Arsenic and Old Lace, which we record next, which is our little bonus mini episode that we do for our patrons only, which is also in full video. If you're not a patron, by the way, you really should be. You can go back and watch all of our previous episodes in video since we started doing them, which is about 20-something episodes ago. And you can watch, you can get it early, you can get all sorts of fun things.
I mean, this is the wonderful thing about podcasts, isn't it? Because you have a long record of your crimes going back over 2 years now. So you can dip in at any point, as you say, to whatever episode, and you can actually just see, well, depending on what you think, really, whether we've got any better, whether we've got considerably worse, or whether we've just stayed the same bantering idiots that we were to begin with.
I hope it's the latter.
Yes.
I really do.
Yes.
So, the link is in the show notes as well to Patreon. I think it's patreon.com/Partners in Crime podcast, but don't quote me on that. Go by the show notes because he writes those, and if it's wrong, I can blame him.
He does. The show notes are absolutely wonderful on this. So
Don't tell him that.
They're absolutely rubbish. I don't know how you can sit there smiling. Get out. They are absolutely wonderful. Of course, as everyone knows, I have no part in any of the classy bits of this podcast, like actually production, getting it done, and all the extraordinary things that go on backstage, as I so quaintly put it, as a man who occasionally treads the boards, or once did many moons ago.
When the boards were there to be trod.
When the boards were there to be trod. But so, yes, I'm in awe of everything that goes on behind the scenes, and so, yeah, read your footnotes if you get a chance on this, because they're full of fantastic information and interesting pointers. In fact, might be said far more interesting than the actual broadcast itself. Shall we go that far? No.
Let's not, no. Shall we call it a day there? We'll do Arsenic and Old Lace, and then we'll go for lunch, because I'm looking at the time. I'm thinking the pubs are opening in half an hour.
I've just hired a boat over there.
Have you?
Yeah, number 47.
That'd be quicker.
Well, it was number 47 or number 49 or number 51. I thought, 47, well, that's a lucky number maybe. Let's go out there. But then I suddenly thought, I'm not going to go out on that water, because I know what happens to people when they do. I've read books.
Yeah, it is generally quicker to get anywhere in Rutland from here by going on a boat. So
is it? You can get across there. Well, as I say, once more, Rutland Water. The first time I've ever been here, and what a brilliant
and the last.
It won't be. I'll be up here. I won't be fishing, but I'll certainly be visiting. It's absolutely beautiful. The sun hasn't quite come out yet this morning. There's still a cloud over, but even on a cloudy day, it's a magnificent spot to visit. So
All sorts of people.
yeah, well, yeah, I didn't. Who knew I'd bump into you?
There we are, look, caravan.
Yeah, oh, good.
Caravan is coming down.
Yeah, look, there's an Anglian water vehicle, and it's got
Yep.
love every drop. So
There's a bloke in the high vis there, look. He's called Simon. See if you wave back. Wave, Simon. Wave, Simon.
you're saying hello, Paul?
He's not.
No, wrong couple. We're not going fishing. There we
No.
are. So anyway, I suppose really it's rather cheeky of me, but we should really end on really loud applause, shouldn't we?
Oh, yeah,
I
let's do
wonder
that.
whether that will happen. Oh, I do hope it will. 1, 2, 3. Oh no, seriously. Thank you so much. Oh, bless you. Bye-bye.
Partners in Crime was presented by Adam Croft and Robert Daws and produced by Adam Croft. The theme tune was by the Caesareans. The Partners in Crime logo and imagery were designed by Stuart Beisch. Partners in Crime is sponsored by Kobo, your favourite local bookshop, perfected.